Crypto Bill. It is a very comprehensive bill. It will be filed on June 7th. It includes coins that are commodities, coins that are securities, it includes stable coins, it includes a discussion of CBDCs and consistent with what we heard earlier, and a small nod to NFTs. It includes algorithmic as well as asset-backed stable coins. It includes definitions, consumer protection, privacy, taxation, and several other components of the discussion as it relates to all this using the existing regulatory framework. So as you can see, it's a long bill, it's comprehensive. We've had it vetted for a month. Michael Saylor was one of our first set of eyes on it, of course, because his expertise is long-standing and we want to make sure that we have lots of input before we file it. It's going to accelerate good regulation. Not all regulation is bad regulation. If you go to CoinMarketCap, there's 19,500 cryptos out there and there's massive confusion, and a shakeout in the industry would be advantageous because the average mere mortal doesn't have time to study 19,500 cryptocurrencies. Welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily. The reason why you subscribe to our channel is because on a daily basis we keep you informed everything you need to know in crypto. We break it down, we make it easy to understand. If you appreciate that, smash the like button and let's jump right in. If you hold altcoins, this is information you need to know about. One of the largest pieces of crypto legislation will be introduced this Tuesday, June 7th, and this is monumental. It includes definitions of which coins are commodities, which coins are securities, stable coins, CBDC framework, and NFT direction. This legislation will probably be very good for Bitcoin. This legislation might be good for crypto in general. However, this legislation might be horrendous for altcoins. Let's dive into why you should be paying attention to this. First of all, the senator who's introducing this bill and spearheading this bill is Senator Cynthia Lummis, Republican from Wyoming. She's introducing the legislation. On Tuesday, the plan is to integrate crypto into the financial system. This sounds bullish, right? I would say Senator Cynthia Lummis from Wyoming has largely been very positive for Bitcoin and crypto thus far. She seems to really understand Bitcoin. She seems to be a big Bitcoin bull, and she seems to be taking a rather hands-off or more libertarian-esque approach to crypto, which I think is smart. We should not overregulate at this time. The problem, however, it's not just Cynthia Lummis who is introducing this bill. A lot of different hands have touched this bill and helped with the wording. Recently, the Heritage Foundation hosted a panel with everyone who worked on or influenced the legislation: Ted Cruz, Cynthia Lummis, Caitlin Long, Michael Saylor. The issue is every person on this panel heavily favors Bitcoin, which in itself isn't necessarily a problem, but if you're more Bitcoin maximalist, this might not be very good for altcoins and crypto. The legislation being written and introduced is by a group of Bitcoin maxis, horrendous for other L1s. So let's dive into the panel so you can understand which hands touch this legislation, and then we'll actually look at parts of the legislation that got leaked. Well, the first person on the panel, everybody's favorite Jen, the earliest set of eyes on the language was Michael. There is no second best Saylor, need I say more? His opinion on crypto is very clear. It's securities and Bitcoin is the most ethical and the most whatever. The second pair of eyes, we have Ted Cruz, Republican of Texas, to understand where Ted Cruz is coming from. And again, I think up until this point Ted Cruz has been very positive for Bitcoin and crypto, understanding that he doesn't really understand it and trying to have other politicians understand they don't understand it. Again, he doesn't want to overregulate it, which is good, but is he more biased for Bitcoin? A quick history lesson: when China banned Bitcoin mining, Texas welcomed the miners with open arms. Electricity is cheap due to operating on a separate power grid from the rest of the nation. Miners flocked into the area over the past 2 years. Cruz now has massive crypto donors that operate a proof-of-work network in his state, keeping Bitcoin strong, and AltSweek directly benefits Texas according to small-cap scientists, and some of his largest new donors also benefit as well. He states he owns Bitcoin and everything else is outside his risk profile. Again, I don't necessarily think Ted Cruz is bad for altcoins in itself, but if everybody on the panel starts talking and a Bitcoin maximalist starts taking it in that direction, Ted Cruz is going to go with the flow. Moving on to another person who touched this legislation, Caitlin Long, blockchain consultant from Wyoming. Caitlin is a 22-year Wall Street vet and now the CEO of Custodia Bank. She is hoping to work with the Fed to create a custodia over collateralized stablecoin. Slowing DeFi momentum is in her best interest according to small cap scientists. Now again, much like Cynthia Lummis, Caitlin Long, in my opinion, Little libertarian-esque kind of doesn't want to overregulate the crypto space, so is it in her best interest to slow DeFi? That remains to be seen, but again, we don't have a lot of pro DeFi, pro Ethereum, pro crypto people who's touching this bill, and of course we have Senator Loomis who's spearheading this, who has her own incentives to pump Bitcoin instead of any other L1s or altcoins. At one point in the video discussing altcoins, she states, "Burn it all down, Bitcoin will be the phoenix that rises." Quick 15 seconds plug before we continue with the video. Question: what is your favorite cryptocurrency exchange? Mine is FTX. You can trade crypto with zero fees on FTX app. Use referral code altcoin daily and get up to 100 for free. I love FTX, as many people love FTX. If you're around the world, get up to $100 in crypto with Altcoin daily, zero trading fees. It's the best. I love it. Let me know if you use it. The moral of the story here is anyone outside of Bitcoin holders is in big trouble in the coming weeks. The first thing they call out is being decided by the legislation is commodities versus securities, and Ethereum L1 will fall under the securities blanket. Don't believe me? Well, if you want a head start, the block was able to obtain a copy of the Loomis legislation prior to next week's final copy. By the outlined definition below, nearly every cryptocurrency, including ETH, is defined as a security. I've combed through the bill but haven't had time to cover all 70 plus pages. The copy is dated March 1st, so plenty of changes could have been made since shared. There is bullish content that will help progress the space surrounding stablecoin regulation and the banning of CBDCs. So my takeaway from all this is that the hands and minds that touch this legislation are all very Bitcoin oriented and Bitcoin centric people. We don't have a lot. There's no Ethereum maximalist, there's no DeFi or NFT type people. It is Bitcoin people who have basically a more libertarian mindset to crypto at best. Is this time to panic? Not necessarily. We actually don't know it's going to be in the final bill. It wouldn't be good if ETH and NFTs and crypto are classified as securities. That's the biggest risk. And also, by the way, if this gets introduced doesn't necessarily mean it will pass. Look, there are a lot of scams in crypto. There are a lot of unregistered securities. That does not mean that everything is a scam or everything is an unregistered security. In my opinion, Ethereum is already past the point of no return. It's a commodity at this point and has already been talked about as such from CFTC chair second shares, but we'll see what this crypto legislation actually says on Tuesday. Now, unfortunately for you and me, there's not a lot we can do in between now and Tuesday except to get this information out there to as many people as possible, and there will be a lot we can do in between Tuesday and if and when this bill eventually passes. There's going to be a lot we can do, so make sure you're staying informed. Subscribe to the channel. We will continue to keep you updated, and with that being said, I'll see you tomorrow. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below.